What is going on, everybody? It is Tuesday. That means it's me and Bash coming at you at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time. This is actually Bash's second stream of the day, which is it's unheard of. Reason
Double
with you. You
header.
don't you
I've
don't
done it
usually do
before.
double headers, let alone single headers. So
I've done it before. I've done it before.
okay, so I've never seen you do it, but oh, it's been a nice weekend to kind of relax. We didn't have to worry about football this weekend. We haven't talked really since the game against the Seahawks on Thursday, but I got the feeling that a lot of people thought that the 49ers solved all their problems with that win, and I don't feel that way. So I wanted to kind of come at you and ask you, what was your initial feeling after the game, and what do you have as far as how you're feeling going forward, especially this coming Sunday with Kansas City? Oh, you're back. You're muted.
There were points at times in the game where it looked like it could have been a blowout, and then that bull crap happens where momentum strikes, and then usually it's a special teams blunder where it's just again it happened again, right? Laviska Shenault had that big touchdown run, right? I hate the new kickoff rules. I think they're shit and they suck, and I wish they'd go back to the old kickoff rules. But whatever it is, we got to find a way to adjust to it. Maybe signing Adrian Amos for the Green Bay Packers will help on special teams. I hear he's really, really good at coverage in general. So maybe that will help. Hopefully that does help. Just trying to find a silver lining. But this game, I mean, I know. I'm glad I didn't run across the fans that you ran across that thought, hey, all the problems are solved. I was definitely a step in the right direction, though. I mean, we lead the division. I get it. Sure, we left some stuff on the field where we could take back or probably try to work on. There's plenty of work to be done this week in the film room. So I think that's good for the team. Had they blown out the Chiefs 50-0, I'd be worried a bit more because the team would be a bit more
Seahawks.
cocky. Sorry, Seahawks. I'd be a bit more worried and be like, oh damn, maybe the team would get cocky over beating kind of like a semi, kind of a mid Seahawks team. But it's okay, hey, we had our mistakes and we have stuff that we can work on. And, even Purdy at the 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, he had some dimes out there, but there were other routine type throws that I think he'd like to take back. And so, yeah, I think definitely step in the right direction, but a lot of work to do ahead.
Peter Parker said that the win was good because I absolutely hate to see the team lose, but those choke artist tendencies were starting to come out. Oh yeah, dude, that the crapalanche was happening. It was I was pretty negative going into that game just because I felt like the Niners. I don't know, man. Like I just felt like something was off. I said like I've talked about it early in the off season and training camp. So I kind of had this feeling like as it was happening, like here we go, we're gonna blow this lead. And in a way, I kind of wanted it to happen because like we have the special teams blunders that continue to happen over and over and over again. And it's like, okay, if the Niners lose this game, there's a good chance somebody could get fired, correct? So, but it didn't happen. And I kind of hate it because it makes me feel like when you win, it kind of puts a little bit of deodorant on a lot of the stuff that was going on that still needs to be fixed, especially with a team like Kansas City coming. But like you said, hopefully they got in the film room and guys were honest with themselves and each other. But I have a lot of stuff that is bothering me. And if you're going to beat a team like Kansas City, who seems to get all the breaks, whether you think that they're under, the fix is in or not, that's a team that you can't give opportunities to with bonehead special teams, defensive lapses, or inability to score in the red zone. So
I definitely agree. That's an interesting last name. I see a last name Arizmendi. Is that your friend Kevin Arizmendi from Twitter?
no,
Next,
this
okay,
is
okay.
a new person off of the X.
Well,
You
hey,
see
that's
Crosby being traded? No,
yeah.
I'm going with my Crosby look right now. I don't know if you
Hey, we were
guys
talking
picked up
about
on
that
that.
before the show. He was saying he's got the Max Crosby look.
I
I
mean,
hate
he's
the
a
Raiders, by the
he's a
way.
ginger like me, and he's got the beard. So I'm putting out Crosby vibes. I got the Raiders white and black 49ers hat. So
All right.
I
And
don't
for
know,
the record,
Kevin.
I grew up hating the Raiders, and I still do. But from a football standpoint, if there's anybody that I really respect on the Raiders, and I'd love to have, and I wish we had drafted. I know we hit it big on all these late round picks, and I'm being greedy and saying, hey, we could have hit on this other late round pick too, on which he was. We just didn't. We didn't strike gold. We missed. That's the one of the late rounders guys that we missed. That's pretty damn awesome. was Max Crosby. He's a badass. I mean, I hate the Raiders, but I'll never deny him being a badass, and I definitely welcome him to the team. Nothing will ever happen. And then when I saw the name Kevin Arizmendi, I was thinking of in Berkeley over in the Bay Area, there's a famous bakery slash pizza place called Arizmendi, and I've had their food before, so it rung a bell. I don't know if he's related to them or anything like that, but just interesting.
And if you are, can Bash have free pizza?
Well, I make my own pizza.
No, so. Bash makes his own pizza. That's okay. We're just kidding.
What were we saying before this? Because there was something I wanted to touch on from what you were saying before the Max Crosby thing.
There's a lot of things to fix going into this game.
Kansas City. It's Kansas City. I mean, I don't think this team would ever be overly hyped facing Kansas City just because the fact that we have to get our monkey off the back. We've been had these close heartbreakers with them. You know what I mean? I just think that they'll be up for this. Why would they take a Super Bowl champion lightly? That would be really, really stupid on their part.
I don't think they'll take them lightly either, but I just think that, and I have this as I had it as a topic, but it just says, are the Chiefs? Do you feel that the Chiefs are a good measuring stick of what the Niners are right now, going up against a team like Kansas City?
They are. I mean, they're not necessarily playing their best football, but again, they are 5-0, and you can go any which way and say, hey, it's because of this and because of that. I don't know about that one, Henry.
My man, Harry Balzac. What up?
I don't know about Ronnie Bell being the key. I do not want him to be a factor in any way, shape, or form in this game. And in most cases, you know what? Before I talk about what we were supposed to talk about, freaking Terrace Marshall got released today. Which
I was just going to ask you about that.
I was hoping he'd stick around and we'd release Bell, but I guess not.
So we bring in Adrian Amos, safety, for depth, because the Niners have all sorts of problems with injuries at safety, and they release the guy you just said. I personally feel, and I know you were a lot more high on him, I feel like if it's not a Niners guy, I don't really see them sticking, especially if it's a guy that you're just picking up for depth. And so I didn't really think that he was going to get a shot or make it on the roster. And I was right. It's just one of those people, everybody has to report every move that happens, all these 49er content creators, but never did I think at any point that he was going to make the 53 or be a game day player. Niners got too much depth at all at different positions. He essentially was just insurance with Pearsall being out, but now that Pearsall looks like he might be active soon, there was no reason to have him.
Yeah, it's a crowded house at the wide receiver room. It really is. It's kind of a good problem
to have.
Yeah, yep. I mean, I still want to see what Cowan can do in a real game. I know that he's had some lapses in the special teams, which I'm not happy about. But I know that he can do much better just on offense. And, eventually if they do try to throw a deep ball his way, I think he'll be pretty successful with it, or run after the catch, yak yardage type play, which we haven't seen too much with the Niners this year, which is kind of good because Purdy's disproving a lot of his haters. He's like last, I think, in yak yards or yak type plays. But yeah, he's leading the league in yardage with 100 QB rating. So shout out to Purdy, man. I mean, maybe it's a little too early to mention Purdy in the show, but yeah, I mean, back to Terrace Marshall. I just saw the height, the weight, the speed. One trick pony type player, at least at this stage of his career, but I just saw so much more upside compared to Bell. Bell, to me, brings nothing to the table. Nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing that Ronnie Bell does that a guy off the street can't do. So yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. One of the issues, the Niners have a lot of injuries going into this game against the Chiefs. Running back, no word on if Garendo is going to get the start with Mason with his shoulder issue. I've been looking all day for the practice report or the injury report. I have had no luck finding it on TikTok on X. I wanted to bring it in to kind of give everybody kind of a list of the guys that are missing. But Pearsall was, and we touched on it for a second, Pearsall was activated to be able to practice. And a lot of 49er fans before he was shot were clamoring to see him. And now that whole situation happened, on top of the fact that there was just a lot of good vibes before training camp started with him, that a lot of people had, including me and you, and we wanted to see what this kid could do because it just looked like he could be special. Hopefully we get a chance to see it. I know Kyle is really down on young guys when it comes to receiver and guys touching the ball on a consistent basis. He trusts his vets. To be honest with you, to me, it's like an embarrassment of riches if you can get this guy on the field when you have Debo, Brandon Ayuk, and Juwan Jennings all healthy. To me, it's just another piece to add, especially with guys like Kittle and Debo who seem to always get nicked up. You know, it's always good to have another guy that you can depend on if one of those guys isn't able to go. So, how are you feeling about Pearsall? Are you kind of reserving judgment and hope because of how the Niners go about things and just kind of letting it happen when it happens?
Curious to see how it happened. And some people were like, "Oh, well, he's going to practice this week, but don't expect him to be activated because they're going to take things slow with him." So I'm not gonna get too down, like, "Oh, we didn't play him, blah 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 blah." I'm just gonna be like, "Okay, whatever. Either they play him next week or they don't play him this week." I'll hold my emotions in either way. But I was one of the guys who was defending him a lot, even though he wasn't who I really wanted at that pick. I wanted offensive line, but at the end of the day, we got him. So at this point in time, I hope he becomes the best wide receiver, that the Niners have had in quite some time, that they drafted in quite some time. And he had a lot of haters in camp because he was hurt and all that. And I get it. And I was just like, okay, cool. We're finally going to get him healthy. We're finally going to see what he can do. And lo and behold, he gets shot and then, fights for his life. And which it sucks that it happened to him, but in his case, it kind of helped him in terms of the fans because everybody's rooting for him now. So, which they should have did in the beginning, but unless he proved that he doesn't belong. But what I did hear early on in camp was that this guy has really really nice separation. He's got the hands, doesn't have the size, but what he could bring to our table, what he could possibly help us out a whole lot in the red zone because from what I heard is much better than our other receivers. Little we did hear from him in camp was that his short area quickness, his short area route running is similar to that. Not gonna throw out the Cooper Cup comparison overall yet, but a similar style, so to speak. And supposedly does those things a little better than a bit better than the other guys that we have already. We got Debo, not the greatest separation, playmaker. Ayuk, he can separate, but not, he has his flaws here and there. Jennings, big dude that knows how to separate in some way, shape, or form. But it's just going to be a different vibe, a different mix. So hopefully he finds a way to mesh in with the guys that we already have, and obviously with him coming in and with Cowan, who we haven't really tapped into, I can get over my pipe dream of Terrace Marshall not being on the team anymore, even if that means that we're sticking to Ronnie Bell, who I can't stand, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, I do see a lot of potential for this wide receiving core. Hopefully, it pans out. I mean, Jennings, I really thought should have been used a lot more against the Seahawks. I get it, we ran the ball a whole lot more, but at least Ayuk finally woke up in the Cardinals game, and we need to see more of those guys. Even if Cowing and Pearsall don't really make a splash yet, those other three bigger names definitely need to be producing against Kansas City.
Every time I think of Ayuk, I think of that the meme or the GIF or the clip. I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part. I didn't do man. Like he doesn't do anything. He didn't do anything in that game. Hold on one second, Runia. Yeah, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties.
Yeah, it happened to John V on my channel. His camera was slowing down on my channel.
One thing too that with all these injury issues and stuff is the CMC thing. He hasn't been activated. His practice window hasn't been open. The talk is hopefully that sometime after the bye is where we might start to see things get ramped up. It's up until this past Thursday, no one really was worried about it. But then with Mason going down and essentially us having Rendo and Patrick Taylor, kind of changes some things, especially like I said, going against a team like the Chiefs. They have that good interior rush. It's going to be interesting. I'll say this, and this is kind of a side note. It's going to be interesting to see Pooney up against Chris Jones. We've had so many issues interior wise blocking that guy. He's the best, probably the best defensive lineman pound for pound in the National Football League as far as what he does and how he takes over games and how he wrecks games. So that's an interesting little tidbit. But what is your thoughts on the CMC thing? Are you in the mindset kind of like a lot of 49er fans are, like if we could somehow tread water, keep him out as long as possible and then bring him in when we really need him down the stretch?
I mean, if we can find a way to go on a pretty good win streak without him and use him possibly in November and get him ramped up for the playoffs, I'll totally welcome that. Jordan Mason's been balling. Now he's not the receiver out of the backfield CMC is. CMC is definitely a game changer in that regard. But hopefully Mason. I'd like to see them throw to Mason a bit more. I haven't noticed the checkdowns too much with Brock. As much as I love the fact that he is getting all these yards and hopefully gets more touchdowns as the weeks come up. I do want to see the quick passes and checkdowns more so from Brock than we used to see him. But he has improved on a lot of things earlier, a lot of things as well. Though he doesn't throw as many. I mentioned this on the previous show with John V. He's not throwing the ball. You know how I remember Brock would have these like turnover worthy type throws that wouldn't be interceptions. People are like, oh, Brock just gets lucky because people drop his interceptions, and that should have been an interception. How's an incomplete pass or whatever? Well, he's cut that in half with the whole turn, and then his tight window throws have doubled per percentage. This season, so he has improved on those. I just want get the easy stuff because we know you can dink and dunk. We know you can do check downs. Do it so you don't have to run for your life. I know it looks fun and exciting when you do it, but sometimes it's like, oh no, I don't want to see you run around like crazy. And if honestly, the past 2 games, I did not cuss and yell and scream at McKivitz. All right, so and it's a low hanging fruit to yell
Totally.
and shit on McKivitz because they say he sucks and whatever. And I've said he sucks, God knows how many times, but at the end of the day, Brock, get rid of the ball quick and get everybody else involved. That means throwing to Jordan Mason. Not that he's CMC, but let's get it done. Let's find a way to make it work without CMC.
49er throwbacks bringing out all the stats in here, talking about Purdy has the lowest pass yards from Yak in the NFL. Mahomes has the highest at 66.7%.
Oh, okay. Well, we got to watch out for that.
Brock Purdy has averaged twice as many air yards in attempt, 10.0. Patrick, 5.0. I wanted to kind of spice things up a little bit.
He can't throw deep. What about that Brock Purdy?
No, let's talk. Well, I have a lot of stuff I want to say. I might start trouble. So what is oh man, there's the Colin Cowherd take that Bo Nix is a better quarterback right now than Brock Purdy. And then, if you listen to Nick Wright, he's another one that's not going to give Brock any credit. I felt like we were turning the corner with the national media bash, and then those kind of things come out, and I try not to get overly angry. The feeling like I got to go tweet one of these guys, mention them and kind of bash them. But how are you feeling about the criticism just continuing, the what do you call the goalpost continuing to be moved around with this guy?
Yeah, I don't know. I talked about it with John V earlier, and a lot of people are touching on this, and rightfully so. And it's kind of like we're falling into their trap at the same time too. It's like, okay, Colin Cowherd, before we go live, we need you to say some of the most outlandish shit to piss off a lot of NFL experts and especially piss off those 49er fans because you know what this means? This means dollars, dollar signs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if that's their agenda, but Bo Nix is not shit compared to Brock Purdy. I don't need to analyze it.
He says he was more of an accurate collegiate passer. That's what he said.
Yeah, well, whatever. But it is kind of funny. I was watching John Chapman earlier today, and he did mention something like a lot of analysts do this about a lot of players, and they're doing it about Brock. It's like some of them have it ingrained in their brain, ingrained in their skull that whatever they saw in college with whatever player, especially quarterback, in this case Brock Purdy, that they still see it in the NFL. Whereas Brock has worked on a lot of things and he's improved a lot of things and he's upgraded his level to the standard of the NFL quarterback. But some people still think, oh, well, he doesn't have the arm, he doesn't have this, he doesn't have that. And I liked watching Brock in college his junior year, man. He was doing some. I was telling my friends this guy looks like a 6-foot version of a Russell Wilson, a poor man's Russell Wilson.
Right.
And at times he's showing that type of crazy stuff too. So, and a lot of people thought he wouldn't get better from his rookie season. And I was kind of one of those guys that thought, maybe he's just a Nick Foles type of player who's hit his
kind of
ceiling.
plateaued.
Yeah, because remember the whole high ceiling thing with Trey Lance and anybody else who's drafted, early. He wasn't one, Mr. Irrelevant, and hey, you get what you get with him. But he's got the work ethic, and he's proven a lot of people wrong. And he said he wants to be big time great. He said that earlier in the training camp. So whatever. If those guys want to be a bunch of clowns and mention that 20 quarterbacks in the league are better than Purdy, let them be stupid. I mean, I feel like I'm wasting my time entertaining my thoughts towards them.
Well, when you got people out there that lose, I saw I saw the Trey Lance. I made a tweet about Trey Lance.
What was this?
It was when Dak was taken out of the game, and
Oh, I heard about that.
they put in the backup, and I
Cooper
told
Rush.
people,
Cooper Rush. Yeah.
yeah, I pretty much told people to go do a wellness check on Ryan Hensley. I wasn't sure if he's going to be able to deal with the fact that his boy's never going to see the field. Him along with Grant, Jesse, and all those guys. They're always gonna. There's always going to be that thing what they do with these, you know. There's always that underlying thing of like giving Brock credit, but at the same time, kind of, somehow bringing into the fact that, Trey Lance this and Trey Lance that. It's I don't know at this point because I don't follow or listen to anybody anymore. How much do people talk about him still, and how much they don't give him credit? Like if you watched, that was a click that I put up that I wanted to download and put on the stream. It was when the 49ers drafted when they drafted Brock Purdy, and pretty much, Grant Cohn says, he's not going to make the roster, this, and this. And then there's another clip of him talking about how Brock Purdy's pretty much not it or whatever. There was like all these things, all these little bits of news that I feel like you could do a compilation of if Brock ever wins a Super Bowl. And so, yeah, there's that. There's that whole side of things still.
And I was big time wrong about Trey Lance. A lot of other 49ers were too. And if we draft somebody that high, of course we're going to be 100% behind that guy. We want him to succeed. We're not stupid. Hey, well, we drafted somebody third overall. I want him to suck. Like, no, that's retarded. But at the end of the day, if you draft somebody that's better, who you don't expect to be better, and he seems like he's the real deal, well, you're obviously going to roll with that guy. I mean, that's just how the NFL works. It's how any pro sports team works. So it is what it is, And again, like I mentioned, Purdy wants to be the greatest, and he's won a lot of people over. He's badass.
JC Montana says Trey Lance is old news. You would think so, right? It seems like I remember last year when we had the struggle and we had the game against the Browns. It was a 3-game losing streak, and me and you talked about it in a live stream. People were saying if Trey Lance was the quarterback, the 49ers would have won those games.
They said it about the Ravens game too.
Yeah, it's just insane. Like I've never seen a quarterback held to such unrealistic expectations and have so much criticism thrown at him. It really, people don't want to accept that a guy that was drafted at the very end of the NFL draft is a starting quarterback for probably one of the top 3 to 4 teams this last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. A perennial playoff, conference championship participant in Super Bowl, and they just don't want to accept it. And it's unfortunate. I don't know if he'll ever get the praise that he deserves. I'll tell you what, though, I got a clip I want to show. I know it's probably going to ruffle some feathers. YouTube might take my live stream down because I know they don't like, they're very, a lot of people are very liberal when it comes to media and YouTube and all that. But I wanted to play this particular clip.
And really quick, JC Montana asked about this, and I forgot to touch on. I know you touched on a little.
I think it's going to be a crucial matchup.
Oh yeah, big time.
Montana. I love your last name, by the
way.
And
really quick before you play the video, I want to say Pooney has been doing awesome. He's ranked 8th overall out of all NFL guards in the entire NFL. That's 64 starting NFL guards. So he's looking awesome. He had the highest grade of all offensive linemen this past game. I wish we drafted more offensive linemen like him. But yeah, either way, as great as he is, he definitely has a tough test. Chris Jones is awesome. Dude. He's a beast. I'm not expecting him to dominate against Chris Jones, but hopefully he holds his own. We shall see what happens.
If he could win some reps, that's all I'm asking. Win some reps. Don't get completely dominated. But I wanted to play this clip from these 2 guys interviewing none other than Mr. Orange Man himself, Donald Trump.
It's the Andrew Schultz podcast, the comedian with the mustache, right?
I'm not sure. I'll have to take a look when I look at the clip. And he mentioned something about Brock Purdy. It's a 15-second clip, so don't lose your mind, people. But I just thought this was funny.
The San Francisco quarterback I found to be very, very interesting. How he's been so good, and he was just about the last draft pick.
Yeah, I think he was he Mr. Irrelevant?
Yeah, he was Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah. He was Mr.
Irrelevant.
He's not irrelevant anymore.
Have you?
That's right. Feel whatever way you want. Feel whatever way you want about politics. You can hate the guy. You can love the guy. He's right. I don't know what else to say. What can you say about that clip? Is he wrong? He's
Well, I
not
was wrong.
irrelevant.
I was wrong because I assumed it was a different podcast that he was on. The Andrew Schultz is a really famous comedian, so if you guys know who he is, they had him on as well. But I'm surprised to see the guy running for president mention Purdy. I think that's pretty badass. It says a lot about Purdy.
I think he's doing a really great job.
Yeah, love Trump or hate Trump. Feel whatever you want. If the guy who's running for president mentions Purdy, that means he's definitely relevant. I'm sorry, Kamala Harris is actually a 49er fan, and I'm not gonna throw my opinions around about her, but you can kind of catch how I feel about her. But yeah, I mean, he's got that it factor. I don't know how else I can explain it. Sure, he's not the biggest, not the fastest, not the tallest. He doesn't have the strongest arm, but watch the games. You'll see why people are high on him.
Don't be like Colin Cowherd and just look at the box score. You could tell that some of these ESPN guys don't watch games. Like we watch games. We've been watching games for years, especially you guys on the West Coast. There was a lot of games I missed in the 90s and early 2000s because I'm an East Coast guy, but we watch them all the time. You could tell that these guys don't watch games. They have somebody write up a bunch of stuff for them and then just go repeat it on national television. Sentinel says it's nice to hear somebody say something about Brock Purdy who has a little bit of cachet in the media. I don't know if cachet is the word with him. Like I said, love him or hate him. I'm neutral.
Polarizing figure. He's a very polarizing figure.
I'm neutral because I think all politicians are crooked. So it doesn't matter.
Everybody was talking about politics.
Yeah. 49ers throwback mentioned something. He said, Aaron, Chris Forrester has stopped overthinking and put John Feliciano in center. It's funny that you say that because I tweeted John Feliciano. And I said, "Hey, big guy, glad you're coming back. Or you're getting better. We're really struggling." I said something like, "Jake Brendel's really not doing the job or something at center." I literally tweeted the guy. I was like, I think I'm like all 49er fans is just get the best 5 offensive linemen out there on the field. I think Feliciano, when healthy, is better than Brendel. So.
It's not saying much with the way Brendel's playing these days.
Brendel's pretty bad.
He's ass. I mean, I hate to be the guy that goes for the low hanging fruit. I really do. I don't want to be a bully and shit on NFL players, but he has been sucking. Like when you see Brock running around like crazy, sometimes a good portion of that's because of Brendel. Let's be real here. But you guys are surprised me. I was like, wait, but Feliciano's got to be healthy. Is it? What am I hearing that I missed?
It was just a tweet that he said something like "I'm back," or "I'm something along the lines of "I'm back" or something, and a lot of people kind of took that as he's feeling better.
Because he played pretty damn good when he was at guard last year. He not Pro Bowl player, obviously, but pretty nice, pretty decent. And if he could replicate that at center, I don't recall seeing him at center, but I know when we signed him, he was known as a utility Daniel Brunskill type player that's played all across the O line. I think the only position he never played was left tackle. So
Brendel is worse than Alex Mack before he retired. Yeah,
Alex Mack, you can't shit on Alex Mack though, dude.
He was good in his prime, but he was absolutely dog water when he was here. He was hurt.
He was a stud in his career, and I tell you this much: he was better than Brendel is right now when he was a Niner.
Think so?
Yeah. Oh, I think so. I definitely think so. Not that he was a stud when we had him, but I'll take his play over what we have in Brendel right now.
JC Montana, we appreciate the compliment. He says, "My first time here with you guys. You seem pretty chill. Going to subscribe. Appreciate that. That's all I could ask for." Me and also, Bashar definitely.
Check out 49er Minded.
Yeah, the 49er Minded is his YouTube channel. It should have him tagged in the bio on this stream in the info box. So it'll take you right to 49er Minded YouTube channel, and you can subscribe there too. One thing that the Niners, as well as they played against Seattle at times, they struggled with still is the red zone issues. I got a stat here. I'm going to take the comment down. Give me 1 second. Says the 49ers lead the NFL in red zone trips 27. They are now up to 25 in red zone touchdown percentage on the season after going 3-5 last week. Continues to be a real major area of emphasis. Yeah, the Niners are pretty horrible in the red zone, to say the least. Again, anytime you face a team like Kansas City when they have a guy who plays video game football in the backfield all the time, and makes all these like wild ass throws from wild ass angles. I never
hate
have any confidence that you can hold the lead. So it's like the more you can score, the better.
Oh yeah, with Kansas City, you can't have that mumbo jumbo. All right, it's 4th and 2 at the 4-yard line. We're gonna kick a field goal. We can't do that BS against Kansas City.
Or we're gonna throw a screen pass to Kyle Juszczyk behind the line of scrimmage. Wait, what?
I love Kyle, I love Brock, and I love
I
this
love
team,
Kyle and Brock to
but
death.
we have to
it's
fix
like,
this red zone bullshit.
There
We really
is
do.
there is some breakdown in communication, or I don't know if Kyle just overthinks. You got to go with the stuff that you work on in camp all year. I don't know. There's got to be a little handful of plays that teams run against each other on when they do those red zone drills and stuff and how to score. I mean, run those plays. I don't know. It can't be that big of a. I know that,
Hurdle.
having Christian McCaffrey out has really changed things, but geez Louise, man, they move the ball fine between the 20s. And it's like, as soon as they get to the 20-yard line,
Yep.
it's like he
Everything
forgets
just
how to call
tightens up.
plays.
Everything
Yeah.
tightens up. And again, part of it falls on Purdy because, like I said, Purdy's been holding on to the ball a little longer than for my liking. You don't see the quick passes, the check downs, stuff like that. And I love Purdy. And hopefully
I love
he finds
Purdy
a way
to death, but he's
too.
got to chill out on the scrambling a little bit. Just start hitting checkdowns, man.
Can you throw up Leon Sandcastle's comment?
Yeah, I'm gonna let me back over to there. Oh,
and Ted's in the chat. What's up, Ted?
He said last year he thinks he's best at center. He was in center in New York. Who's that? Feliciano.
He used to play for the Giants. Yeah,
I agree. I think he is best at center. He would be a fantastic player. But as well as I know, Bash, that Kyle does what Kyle wants. So our info and our opinion means absolutely jack squat.
But it wouldn't surprise me though if Forrester and vouches for Feliciano at center and Kyle goes along with it. What's up, Teddy?
The big guys in here. Teddy talks ball, bikes, and bites. I haven't seen Ted. Ted is kind of no longer kind of doing the YouTube thing, at least for right now. But it's always nice to see him pop in and show his presence. He's probably one of my most favorite people on YouTube that I gotten to know over the last 4 years, probably along with Bash and Raj and a bunch of other people. So nice to see you in here, my friend. I appreciate your presence. You're bringing good juju to the stream.
Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, you're bringing a lot of good Juju Smith-Schuster to the stream.
Whenever I hear that, I never got accustomed to say that Juju stuff that everybody else says. So the first thing that comes to mind is Juju Smith-Schuster. I don't know why.
I want to jump to the other side of the ball. In the victory in Seattle, a couple things happened. One of them was D. Winter replaced
Devondre Campbell.
Devondre Campbell, who was benched, who's probably the slowest linebacker I've ever seen in my entire life. He came in. Malik Mustafa started, and Renardo Green also played. And all three of them at points in that game made plays. And there was, the talk with Brock going forward is you got to pay him, so we're not going to be any good anymore. And then we're going to digress, and we'll never be a chance to have a team like we did prior, right? I mean, Emmanuel Ocho pretty much crapped all over that when he talked about just all the contributions from young guys. I mean, we had Garendo contribute, Pooney contribute, Mustafa contribute, Renardo Green contribute. I just wanted to get your take. Me and you, we do our streams in the off season, and you're a big draft guy. How impressed, at least right now, I know it's not the whole season and we have a ton of time, opinions can change, but you are a big draft guy. How impressed are you with this particular draft class, man?
You know what? During training camps and mini camps or whatever camps you want to talk about, all I heard were high praises from our rookie class. And I was doing my streams, and maybe I was overhyping things a bit because I didn't see anything in real games. But I was like, oh, wow, we're going to have the best secondary that we've ever had because Renardo Green's looking badass and Malik Mustafa is looking badass in camp, blah, 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 blah. And, Dominic Pooney's looking badass in camp, yada, yada, yada. And on and on with all the rookies. I was always hyping up the potential of Garendo, the height, weight, speed, and all that. And even we were on a few weeks ago, it looked like he's a bit tentative, and he's not a pure, true natural runner, so to speak. You could tell that he's a guy who in college was seldomly used. He doesn't have that amazing jump quick, that jump step that Jordan Mason has in his own running scheme. But when you got that kind of size, you got that kind of speed. I was saying this when I was on with you. I'm pretty sure you remember this. But don't be surprised sooner or later if he hits on a 40-yard or 50-yard run because he just has that type of talent. And lo and behold, boom, 76-yard run. I wish he fucking did not slide, though. That would have been so nice for him to get his first touchdown. He would have had his first 100-yard game, too. It was 10 carries for 99 yards. Guerrero already has good hands, by the way. Two people, in case you want to know if he can be a good receiver or not. He's a former wide receiver. I don't know about his blocking too much, but he has been on the field, so he must be picking up things pretty well in the blocking game, because you know how they say no block, no rock with the 49ers. And not that I think Guerrero is going to be a superstar right off the bat, but hopefully he'll be. Let's just say this: I hope he's the best. Now, there's not much in terms of competition, but I hope he's the best running back that Kyle Shanahan has ever drafted. How about that?
Yeah, right now. It's still early for him. You know,
go ahead.
He runs pretty standard. I haven't really, like I said, I never really saw anything from him that would get me too excited until he hit that big home run. One of the reasons he hit that run was because of Pooney. Pooney had a great block on that play.
Oh yeah.
He actually bumped into an offensive lineman too when he made that run, and he's a pretty sturdy guy, man. It was like he never ran into anything. You know, you get a smaller back bouncing into an offensive lineman and it might knock him over. With him, it was just like woo. I was uptight that whole game. I think that was the first time in that game towards the end where I actually was like, all right, we won. Like it finally happened. And then of course he should have ran it in. Kyle said he should have ran it in. He thought he was doing the right thing by not going in. He said he wanted to give it to Juszczyk. It's like, whatever, dude. They just wanted to have a reason to have the guys with their pretty wives show up in the crowd.
Yeah,
you know, all
me
that
and John
stuff.
were saying that. Yeah. I forgot to add this one thing about the rookies too, because
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I mean, it seems like Guerrero's a really good dude. By the way, I'd love to have a guy like that in the locker room, even though I want him to be more selfish in that regard. But I'll say this, you know, yeah, they probably planned that touchdown celebration with the wives or whatever. And some people were like, oh, well, the 49ers, some Niner fans were saying, so they got lucky because the rookies had to save their team's asses, and they're like, they were just being like so negative about the fact that the rookies were the ones that had to step up. Hey, dude, I'll welcome it because, like I mentioned earlier, a few weeks ago in training camp, like, you know, sure, you're gonna have to sign Purdy, and that could cripple us in free agency with our salary cap, blah 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 blah. But if the team continues to draft well, especially in the lower rounds, it may not matter because as long as you have that quarterback and you make up for it year by year with the draft, you'll be fine. Your window will still be open. And I was like, okay, cool, great. Hey, look at these rookies so far. They're making plays. Renardo Green, Pooney, obviously, Grendo, you know, maybe Tatum Bethune pretty soon. It seems like he got some run. So hey, I'll definitely welcome in. Hopefully Pearsall and Cowing get in the mix eventually. I think Cowing will eventually. I don't know. They need to figure out his cleats. That's all I gotta say. Some of his cleats.
Yeah,
maybe
what was going on with that?
I don't know, dude.
I was pissed. That pissed me off. I was screaming at him.
I like him, but I do not want to see him do that ever again. Never.
Some people just don't look comfortable, man, doing kick returns. I just think the whole Niners, and we'll get on special teams in a second because that's a major issue still. I don't care. You could win by 50. It's still a problem. What the hell was going on with him falling? Does he just not want to return kicks? So he's just making it. Maybe did he put like peanut butter or some like butter on his cleats or something before the game? Like, I mean, every single time he went to make a cut, he slipped on his ass. I don't get that. So
yeah, and I was worried because I did read something. I don't know where I read it, but it was like I think it was before the Cardinals game that Kyle Shanahan has stated that from this point onwards, Kyle Juszczyk is going to return punts for the rest of the season, and he's going to bench Cowing and punt returns. And I was like, damn, that sucks because I know Juice has good hands, has great hands, but I don't want him returning punts either. Like he doesn't have any breakaway speed, dude. And I like Cowing's potential, but lo and behold, here comes Cowing screwing up in games. Like, dude, do not give Shanahan a reason to not have faith in you, because he'll make sure that you ride that pine.
Again, for all the people who brought up earlier about Max Crosby and how awesome it would be, it's not going to happen. But I am, like I said, I'm sending out the vibes. Yeah. I'm sending out the Max Crosby vibes. Okay, I got the beard. I'm pale.
Is that what you need for Halloween?
I need to get out like a sleeve full of fake tats, and then I'll just. It was funny is like, if they ever did make a move for someone like that, and then like they kept them and re-signed them, I could actually buy that jersey, wear it, and like be like, "Yo, is that?" No, my nose is way too big. He's a lot prettier than me, but yeah, that I'm putting out the vibes with the black on white Niners hat. So, um,
Oh man,
anything else on the rookies you want to hit on, or is that pretty much it?
the rookies. I may want to touch on one or two things about the rookies that I missed already.
I want to take
go
on.
ahead.
I want to take on JC Montana's question. He said, "Do
Oh,
you
go
think
ahead.
the vets?" He says, "Do you think the vets on this team get on to people like Campbell inside of meetings and tell him to step up on his game up?" I don't know. I don't know how much of self-policing this team does. I think Kyle Shanahan does a really good job of policing this team.
Yeah,
He's a
that's the
very
coach's job. A coach's job.
he's a very fiery. It's funny. Me and my brother were talking about this because he feels like Mike McDaniel is just spineless, and he's not a leader of men. You know, he's a good coordinator. He's kind of smart, kind of awkward. He says your coach, regardless, he goes of what people think. He holds people accountable. I mean, remember Jimmy Garoppolo with this? This is easy shit. Can you handle it? When he was talking to him about stuff, he was
That's
making
hilarious.
mistakes.
That's hilarious.
Kyle's gonna. I like that about Kyle. He's kind of a throwback coach. He'll rip into guys. That should be the case, especially if you make a lot of money. I don't know at this point if you can get after Campbell. He's old. He sucks. I don't know.
I don't know how he made the All Pro team a few years back. In 2021,
Right.
I
He's
believe.
real.
He looks nothing like it.
He can't move. He's bad.
Yeah, he should have
Can't
lost
even
some
put him on
weight.
special.
He should have got. He looks pretty big too. Almost.
Yeah,
He
he
looks a lot. He doesn't look like our linebackers. Our linebackers are a lot more fit. They're a lot smaller, and they seem to fit our scheme. He doesn't look like a scheme fit. Nothing. He reminds me more of like a. I hate to say Levon Kirkland because Levon Kirkland was a stud, but he just looks like a much bigger linebacker than what we got.
Like Kirkland, Mike Walter, guys like
Michael
that.
Walter. I met that dude.
Michael Walter.
They play. We had back when I was in high school, my freshman year, we had a celebrity basketball game against the faculty, and it was the 49ers, but it wasn't like the top dog Niner players. It was like the B-list Niner players the year that we were supposed to three-peat. Michael Walter, Harris Barber, and Guy McIntyre, or like Eric Wright was there, which was cool. He was probably the biggest name of all the guys that were there.
You know who was on that 90 team that was supposed to three? I didn't know Eric Davis was. He was a rookie on that team.
Oh yeah. I remember Eric Davis back then. Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, he's pretty over. He's a pretty
over
overripe. I never thought Eric Davis was all that good of a corner. I thought he was pretty bad, actually.
He started to get better his third year in. I watched him closely because I remember
until he went up against Michael Irvin and he just got absolutely roasted.
Me and my friend used to rip Eric Davis big time when he first came out, and then little by little he was getting better, and obviously he was way better the year we brought in Deion Sanders. That helps. But the year before we brought in Deion, he was showing he was getting a lot better, and he was getting like pick sixes and stuff like that. So
yeah, Don Griffin on that team for a while. That first
Don Griffin,
that
Merton
first
Hanks,
one. Yep.
We just transitioned Merton Hanks to safety around the time that Eric Davis was coming along.
Yeah. JC Montana was talking about how he's had flashes, but it might be over with Campbell. And then he brought up like 2021 Debo. I mean, Debo still flashes, he says, here and there. Yeah, Debo, like he made his big play, but yeah, he up until that, he's been pretty quiet this year. I almost feel like him losing all that weight was actually a detriment to his game. The one thing I don't like about Debo is that he takes himself out of games. That drives me insane. I understand on like a long touchdown run, but just during games in particular, I see him just take himself out of games, and I'm like, who does that?
Very hit or miss with Debo. It's very hit. He's always been a hit or miss type player. Even like he'll have stretches. Even last year and the year before, like he'll have stretches where 3 games in, you'll see nothing from him, and then like that 4th game hits, and boom, everybody's back on the Debo hype train. I told you Debo was good. I told you. And there are things that like when Debo balls out, it's like the funnest thing to watch. It really, really is. But I mean, I just wish we could see it more often. You know what I mean?
And that running joke, people, you don't know. Inside joke. Here we go. He looks gassed on the sideline. I mean, I know I'm not one to talk, but damn, Debo, where's right? That's what I'm saying. I thought he was like so healthy this year and all this, that, and he was in shape, and he's the smallest he's ever been, and he feels amazing. I am so sick of off-season conditioning videos, off-season conditioning talk. The same guys who they talk about every year, and that's Kittle included, they're always hurt. I don't care about your off-season conditioning because whatever you're doing ain't working. You can't play a full 17 games ever. So enough with that. But I totally agree. Ted says Eric Kendricks' last minute signing with the Cowboys really hurt us, but karma seems to be catching up with him for it. Right. Yeah. I mean, we're struggling. I don't think we've arrived. I don't know if we're going to have a great season. It could be a bad one. But I'll tell you what, we're doing a lot better than the Dallas Cowboys right now.
I think if we could ride the storm, and we may have to tough it out and grit it out for a bit. And with Purdy playing the way he's playing, I'm feeling pretty confident. And maybe we're just working out the kinks early on. We lost some stupid games. And every year we tend to lose some dumbass games that we have no business losing. It's been like that
Right.
for a while. If we could somehow pull 11-6 out of our asses, or maybe we end up being 10-7, who knows? But
they have a chance to win the division still. Because somebody made a good comment. And by the way, if you're on X, Twitter, whatever, drop on over to YouTube. The link is actually in my Twitter X bio. You can jump right over to the channel and join the live stream. Be part of it on YouTube.
and hit the live and subscribe on YouTube if you do jump over.
Yes, please. I totally forgot what I was going to say.
My bad. I forgot too.
What in God's
talking
name
about?
are we talking?
I know. Well, I know Ted mentioned Eric Kendricks thing, which is interesting. I know it wasn't what we were talking about.
Oh, we were talking about our record.
Our record.
Yeah, like somebody made a comment about like how did the Rams, the Rams beat us and the Cardinals beat us, and it's simple. Like the Niners, I tweeted people. I said we're just not a good team right now. Maybe not this year, maybe just not right now. That's the reason. People are like, I don't understand how the Niners can't beat said team. But then when they, other teams play them, I don't know what it is with the Niners. The Niners, somebody's like, well, we have a winning record against Kyler Murray. I'm like, that's great and everything, but we still, to this day, for some reason, can't stop mobile quarterbacks that run that option. It is continued bane of existence. That pissed me off.
Yeah,
it's still the bane of
Campbell
our
did
existence.
nothing to disrupt that play. He just, I love Greenlaw. He's my favorite linebacker. Especially I love Fred Warner. Greenlaw was like my guy. And had Greenlaw been out there over Devondre Dan Campbell, he would have found a way to disrupt that play and not look like a total ass like he did. And yeah, that was
JC Montana says, I think Pooney's addition versus the Chiefs should help the other all lineman scheme against that front. Bold take. Hope so. I hope you're right.
He picks up for McKivit's mistakes from time to time, dude. He is definitely a find. I wish we would try to find another guy like him in round one. But we went the Pearsall route. It is what it is. So hopefully Pearsall pans out.
It's funny that his last name is Pearsall, and there's a place that I want to go to in Louisiana called Parasols.
Oh, really? Why do you want to go there?
They have this like roast beef sandwich that I saw on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. You know how much I don't like Guy Fieri because I think he's cultural appropriating Italians, but there is some cool places.
They go to all kinds of cool places. I'd love to.
And for people want to know why, I'm a first generation half Sicilian, so Guy Fieri irritates me. I've sent Bash so many videos about the culture appropriation that happens with Italians and like how everything you see in New York and Jersey, none of that, if you go to the old country, exists. It's all made up, gabagool, gravy, all that stuff. None of that exists over there. You go over there and talk like that, they'll smack you. So, but yeah, that's a whole other side tangent. I was
trying not to bring up food, and we did last time. Now you brought it up.
I've turned into a bigger guy in my 40s. I'm a fat guy now, so I love food. I wanted to talk to you about something that we haven't touched on yet. That was a big concern and still is a huge concern and could beat us this coming week is special teams. I think, and I've said this on TikTok, on Shorts, I've said this on YouTube videos, the Niners have the worst special teams in the National Football League. Do you disagree?
Excuse me, I was about to cough. But yeah, the way I coughed right there was probably similar to the way we choke on special teams. Real talk. I mean, it's like I didn't bother. I never look up special teams stats.
Me neither.
Special team stats, but
I don't need to.
I feel like in this case, I really don't need to. What I see on the field looks like shit. I mentioned Adrian Amos earlier, the safety, who is a very good cover safety. Hopefully, he continues to be one. I'm not going to guarantee that he's still one at the age of 31, but hopefully, at the least, we get some special teams coverage out of them. I'm assuming they'll probably throw him in on special teams.
Keep Odom off the field, please, on defense. He's atrocious.
Well, but he did look pretty good when they challenged him against Metcalf on that deep pass. Remember he knocked the ball down? You remember that one play?
Yeah, but I rather have
I
like
mean, yeah.
when you bring up Amos, I kind of think maybe he could be the second coming of Tyshawn Gibson. Maybe
I
like
hope he can be Gibson.
you
I
know what I'm
really hope
saying?
he
Like
can.
I
Yeah,
think
I'd love
a lot
that.
of 49er fans are kind of hoping that too, that maybe we can get this guy, someone who's a true center fielder, and we can get these box guys like Mustafa and Jair Brown and Hufanga to play their
Yeah,
rightful
it pisses
positions.
me off that how injured Hufanga keeps getting. I was hyping this guy up so much when he was having that All Pro season.
Yeah, it's
I did a funny
starting to
comment,
look
but I
more
think that
and
was
more
kind of
like if they continue to go a certain way, that Hufanga might not be back next year.
yeah,
Just
we
saying.
can't sign everybody. We can't sign, like I mentioned when did I mention on this show or the previous show? But I don't see Ward coming back. Maybe Hufanga, which sucks. I love Hufanga. Sandcastle brought up a really funny comment.
Uh,
But
Guy's son went to school with you. Guy's a real deep. Is he? I kind of figured that.
so you must be from the
Kind
Santa
of,
Rosa area, I take it.
I
Then
kind of figured that. He comes off, dude.
I've heard some stories about him.
I
Yeah,
have too.
I heard some
And I
stories.
don't know anybody, but I have a relative. I'll just say that who he reminds me of.
Okay.
Just overdone. He's like a short guy. He's Italian. He's just like the Baba to be. You know, I don't know if there's a guy on TikTok. This guy with a really huge nose. He looks like Nick Wright, but like an Italian version.
Nick Wrong.
The way guy acts is so not the way people who are truly Italian act. My mother was born in Sicily. I can't watch him. I watch the shows for the places that he goes, but when I listen to him, I want to put my fist through the television.
It's just the content. I watch it for the content. That's all. If I'm bored in something on a Friday night, I'll just watch it.
Guy's son went to school with me. Guy's a real deep guy.
Is it the son? Is it the son that he always the nepotism son that he always throws in on the show?
So.
I got my son with me, who's boring as shit and has no business being on the show. But I'm going to
his
try
son
to make
looks like me when I was that age. He's all skinny.
Oh man, I feel bad for you.
You see how skinny he is? That's what I look like.
Yeah, he's got a face for radio.
No, I definitely. Well, I don't have a face for YouTube, but hell, I'm still on here. Hey, Grant Cohn doesn't have a face for YouTube, but he makes it work, right? Doesn't matter. Nick Wright doesn't have a face for television, but he makes it work. So,
yeah,
whatever.
Alrighty.
Besides 40-time, Huff dropped off due to injury concerns. It's pretty hard to say that he has proved those people wrong. Health has been his biggest issue since he's been here, which kind of seems like a lot of issue for a lot of guys that are on the 49ers. But that's the type of game he plays. And unfortunately, when you play that type of physical game, the person who's most at risk is you, not the guy that you're trying to lay the wood to. Although that Malik Mustafa laid a nice blow on somebody last Thursday, and so did Fred Warner. So it was nice to see.
I'll say this. You mentioned the free safety, George Odom.
Mm-hmm.
There are points in times where I know it's a short, little, small sample size, but Malik Mustafa looks really, really nice and strong. Free safety at times. I think out of all, even if Hufanga was healthy, between him, Jair Brown, and I think he's the guy. Between him, Jair Brown, and Hufanga, I think he's the guy that can take over free safety, assuming he's the guy that they have over Amos. So.
One of the things that happened, we kind of got sidetracked. That thanks to me. We were talking about special teams, is the fact that we signed another kicker.
I was going to bring that up, so you brought it up. I forgot his name though.
Yeah, I got it on here. It's his name is Anders Carlson. 49ers signed another kicker because, as we know, we can't tackle on special teams. So
why doesn't Wisnowski just do the kickoffs? At least he can.
Right, my brother was like, "Why don't they just kick it out of bounds?" I'm like, "Right, yeah, I don't understand." I hate
the new kickoff rule, but all the other teams in the league are finding a way to cover, but us. So whatever.
Yeah, the Niners. The two things that the Niners seem like the league has a master of, except for the 49ers, that the read option with guys like Murray. Niners. Everybody else can figure it out with the Niners, and special teams. Everybody else can tackle, kick field goals regularly, and then the Niners are like the epitome of like, what do they call it? The bad news bears or whatever. They just are a total show when it comes to special teams. And people like brush it off like, oh, we won. It's like, yeah, but when you play good teams, that stuff kills you. You know what I mean? Like, it's a big deal. I hate when people say, well, it doesn't matter. We won. I'm like, yeah, that's probably how the people in the building think. And that's why when you play up against really good teams, you lose, at least
Mhm.
this year.
Yeah, well,
The Niners
yeah,
haven't beat anybody this year. So people need to relax too. Like,
I was gonna say, I hate to go back to this topic again. I really do, but he dropped a really good nugget that I want to touch on. Leon Sandcastle. I don't know if you heard some things, but this is very true because I can attest to it. My one of my best friend's sister. I'm not gonna mention how they met. I don't want to throw her under the bus or anything in terms of where she works at or anything like that. But she had an encounter with Guy Fieri, and half the time he was like, "Oh, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am?" And she was like, she was playing it off like she didn't though. It's pretty funny.
what's funny is he looks like he's like, kind of like The Rock, they donate, they give something to somebody, but they always got to film it, right? They never do anything behind the scenes without mentioning it.
So
Like, hey,
in my culture, Middle Eastern, we have a saying, whatever we do with the right hand, we don't tell the left hand. Meaning, if you like do whatever you can for the community or to help people, you don't sit there and spotlight it and boast and brag about it.
yeah, what did Dennis Rodman used to do for the kids in Utah buying toys and stuff when they'd come to town or something? I forget the report, but like it was never reported because everybody hated on Dennis Rodman because of, you know, he dressed a certain way or he acted androgynous or whatever. But people like to always bury the good stuff that people do just to carry on with a story or a whatever. I just get a vibe from Guy Fieri that he's a phony baloney. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I hope he watching this. We've said his name a lot.
Guy, the
Guy
fact that he
Fieri here at Triple D. We do things a little different.
see in Triple D, we got a guy like me who has the high size head of a guy like Aaron, but on a way smaller body. I'm only 5'4", 5'5", but I got a head the size of a guy like the Big Show from like, dude. You ever see Guy Fieri's head?
I haven't noticed his
Thinks
head.
he,
It's just that hair is just like whatever.
he doesn't have any neck either. It's like somebody got like a Barbie and kind of did some retrofitting with it, cut the neck off and just popped it back down. That's what it looks like. Yeah.
And Peter Lee, you brought up a great comment. If you want to, I don't know if you caught that.
Jed York has to be pissed that he pays health insurance for these new kickers every Sunday. Right.
Yeah, just
What
kicking the
about,
ball out of bounds.
I wanted to ask you something. If the Niners have a flame out in this season or a particular side of the ball, say like special teams, continues to hurt them, do you think the Niners would make a move to get rid of a guy, say like Schneider on special teams? Like, is somebody going to be a sacrificial lamb or someone's going to fall on the sword?
Well, if anybody deserves it, out of all these coaches that we've had, I mean, the obvious one is Schneider. It is what it is. I mean, I wish we could bring back Brad Seeley. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he retired or there was that one guy. I forgot his name, but he was my favorite 49 special team coach, George
Last name was
something.
George
George
Stewart.
Stewart. George
Yeah.
Stewart. He was so fiery on the sidelines, getting everybody pumped up. I forgot where he is.
Where is
now.
George Stewart? I'm
I'll tell you.
gonna search him out.
I
I'm
looked him
gonna
up a
ask.
few weeks ago. I'll tell you where he's at. Give me a second. George Stewart, NFL.
Remember,
Yeah,
guys,
he was
I was
badass.
sending out the
man. I
vibes to
mean,
Max Crosby. Okay.
I know you keep talking about it. So he's with the Chargers now as an assistant head coach, offensive analyst. So he doesn't even do special teams. Last time he did special teams was when he was with us, way back in 1996 through 1999. Go figure.
JC Montana says D'Amico Ryans does a lot for kids in the Houston area, and nobody seems to talk about it. Of course not.
I would have never known, but I love D'Amico. He's awesome.
Thank
I love
you.
Rob-
Thank you
I
for that
still
little
like
tidbit
Robert
of
Saleh.
information.
I feel bad that Robert Saleh got fired.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen this year, but I've been overly not impressed with Nick Sorensen. Like, absolutely not at all. I think he sucks.
At the end of the day, people have been throwing out, well, D'Amico Ryans wasn't that good from the beginning. Robert Saleh wasn't that good from the beginning. And you could throw that out there, but at the end of the day, like, we don't have time to waste here either, And we do have Staley.
That's the thing. The players wanted this. The Niners players are really whiny. Like we talked about, they have this little clique that Kyle kind of goes to when he makes big decisions. And one of the things is, everybody, including Kyle, everybody threw Wilkes under the bus, like I said, rightfully so. And then the Niners don't like to go outside the building because the players don't like that. They want to keep it internal. They got an internal guy, and they're worse than ever right now. So what's the problem?
Yeah, we got a guy that shouted to Raj from RSF 49ers. Last time I went on with him, he was saying calling him the Surfer Boy, and I was like, yeah, he does look like somebody from the movie North Shore. If you're familiar with the '80s movie North Shore, check it out. It's a good movie about Hawaii and
It's like he makes
surfing.
crystal meth in his basement. That's what he looks like.
He's got that it just looks like he's just too cool and chill. I mean, Sala and D'Amico got pumped up on the sidelines. You didn't necessarily see that from Wilkes. The one thing I'll hang my hat on, one thing Wilkes can hang his hat on is he got the DBs to be real DBs. That's the one thing I can give him credit for. Now, I'm not gonna. We all know his f ups and stuff like that. Why he got fired, we know that. But yeah, shit, man. Brandon Staley's got to step it up. Sorensen's got to step it up. Do whatever you got to do, man.
Real quickly, and then we'll get out of here. Prediction for the game score: Kansas City.
Prediction.
You don't have to pick a win because I'm not picking us to win.
Okay. As the Niner fan I am, I'm always a homer whenever I do these picks.
There goes my subscription. The few people that watch are gonna be like, I'm out of here.
All right. So I'm a diehard Niner fan. What can I say? But anyways, we're playing at Levi's. Brock Purdy is our quarterback. We have a badass quarterback. We have a top 5 head coach who can possibly be a great, amazing coach when he does things right. Kyle Shanahan. We've got all kinds of playmakers. Jordan Mason running the crap out of the ball. Pooney helping our O line out big time, even though we don't have that great of an O line. And what can I say? I mean, the defense has got to step it up big time. And I know Mahomes and company they're 5-0, but they're squeaking out games. But we can't be intimidated either by this team. I know we lost in the Super Bowl. We'll see how up Ayuk is. Ayuk was so emotional that we lost to them. They forgot where they came from and who helped them get where. Well, I know it's not the Super Bowl, but Ayuk, you got to step it up. All right, I'm going to say it right now.
Yeah, we need to put an APB out for the guy because it seems like he shows up for a bit and then he goes missing for 3 games.
Yeah, time for Ayuk to step up. Let's see Bosa get a sack. 14 pressures, I get, which was pretty badass. But let's get you a sack.
Sack, jeez.
I thought he had the sack, but apparently they created the Sam O, whose name I need to work on.
Just call him 91.
Leonard Floyd get a sack. Yeah, we need you guys to step up. Yeah, and if Purdy could fix that red zone stuff, and we can just hold on to the ball, no more turnovers, and run the ball when you need to, when you're up. Yeah, I see some good things happening. So this final score will be 25-19.
I feel like the Niners fooled a lot of people with the win in Kansas City. I still think they have a lot of issues. Miscommunication stuff on defense, a lot of people out of position, a lot of moving around before the snap last week, and they got lucky that they played who they played at quarterback. Let's remember who we played at quarterback. And then Brock Purdy, I think, needs to play a lot better. I think Brock Purdy needs to not hold on to the ball as much. I think Kansas City's really, really good, and it might not be offensively the same team, but defensively they're outstanding. I just think the Niners special teams or red zone offense, one of those things is going to come back to bite them in the ass. I don't feel like they've completely exercised any of the demons that have been messing with them early in this season. And until they do that, and until they can consistently do that, I just don't have enough confidence to say that they're going to beat Kansas City. Now, if they go and do it, come and attack me. I don't care. I'm going to go along the same lines of Peter Lee. I'm going to go 27-17 Kansas City. I'm going to think the Niners just won't be able to move the ball. And, 50-year-old Travis Kelce somehow is going to still make plays. I could be totally wrong. It's a mental thing with this team that they can't beat Kansas City because they were the better team in the Super Bowl. I mean, top to bottom roster. But it is what it is. I know I'm a Niners channel, but I'm not going to be fake about it. Sorry.
When you said Travis, I thought you were going to say something else that started with a K. I'm not going to say the name.
Travis King.
And I'm sick of that. All that. I hope I can watch a game against the Chiefs without seeing. I was just about to call her the worst name in the book. I'm going to be nice. I don't want to see Taylor Swift's face. I don't want to hear her name. I don't want.
And she's going to be all up on our screen.
I don't know what this fascination. I know she can. I know she's the quote unquote good
the
singer.
NFL is entertainment. You got to remember that.
I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I don't see nothing about her music to me justifies the fame that she has. It just doesn't. It doesn't. I'm sorry.
Ted's like, as long as Swift is there, it's curtains for us. I know. It's exactly how I feel. And
I
it's
wish
so
the 49ers
bad.
would like ban her from the damn boxes or ban her from being in the crowd, dude.
Her freaking Mahomes' wife, the brother.
I can tolerate those two others, but Swift is like whatever, dude. Get her out.
All right, everyone. Thank you for participating. Ted, thanks for dropping by. JC Montana, welcome to the family. Appreciate you coming through. I hope you do subscribe to both channels, 49ers First Takes and 49er Minded. Everybody, we will see you next week, next Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully, we're talking about a Niners victory over the Chiefs. I'm hoping we are. I'm sorry that I didn't pick them, but that's just how it goes. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Go Niners.
Yeah.